Right.
Well, everyone, welcome back to a very exciting episode of the Storybox podcast. Today, my friends, I'm delighted to welcome one of my good friends back to the Storybox. He is the award-winning poet, the New York Times best-selling award-winning poet, I should say as well. His name is Atticus. Now, for those of you that don't know who he is, who've never seen his poetry online, I mean, he's one of the most tattooed personalities, like his words. You can tattoo it on your arms as well. You can post about it. All his words hit deep into your soul, into your heart, and they just resonate with you so much. But he's also a 3-time New York Times, soon to be a 4th one, with his new book, which we'll get into, LVOE, which is love spelt wrong, which we'll explain why in just a moment, which I think he explained it to me just a moment ago. It's beautiful. But he's also the author of Love Her Wild, The Dark Between Stars, and The Truth About Magic. You can follow him at Atticus Poetry on pretty much everywhere. Atticus, my friend, can I welcome you back to the Storybox podcast today?
Jay, it's good to be back. I missed you.
I missed you too, man. Love having conversation with you. It's
likewise.
So good to have you here. And I love supporting your work, because you've been such an amazing supporter of myself, which I can't thank you enough for, by the way. It's incredible having someone like yourself support me, little old me in Sydney, not Sydney, Australia anymore, in Queensland.
You moved. Well, the feeling's mutual. You know, I've so appreciated the support, and you know, I'm congratulations are in order, because you're a few weeks away from releasing your book. So congratulations.
Which you've already, like I said, helped so much with the book. So I want to return the favor for you. But how have you been, man? How has things been? You mentioned that you've been traveling a lot. Like, what's been your musings recently?
Yeah, you know, I think we jumped into it last time. But I draw so much inspiration from traveling and the people that I meet traveling. That kind of any opportunity I get to go, I'll go, and it just, you know, it brings the words. You know, I spent a lot of time in France and throughout Europe, and actually got to go and bring electricity and fresh water to a village in Colombia. So I'm really been blessed. And actually, I just found out a few days ago that I've been invited to go and meet the Dalai Lama.
Wow!
So I'm going to India in a few weeks to meet the Dalai Lama.
How does that make you feel, man?
Unbelievable. You know, I mean, it's been a bucket list item. You know, my for as long as I knew what a bucket list was, to meet His Holiness. So, you know, I think it's a true honor. I'm very excited about it, and feel very humbled that I was asked.
I mean, the Dalai Lama knows your work. Just
yeah,
that is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrific. I mean, I'm such a huge fan of the story and what he represents, and yeah, so very, very exciting. I'll let you know how it goes. We should get the Dalai Lama on the Storybook podcast.
We should, man. That would be a great conversation. I love his work too. I mean, his wisdom just. Yeah, it's unbelievable, honestly. And I've read his book, The Book of Joy, I think it is. That's another guy. He wrote it with Desmond Tutu.
That's right.
Desmond Tutu. I mean, I would have loved to have had both of them simultaneously on the show, so I could just.
Could you imagine?
Oh, wow. Man. What's the number one question you want to ask the Dalai Lama?
Wow, that's powerful. I think I would go, what's his interpretation of love? What does love mean to him? I just love to hear it in his words. Mm-hmm. You know, I've spent so much time trying to, you know, define love, and, you know, I've been all you can do is kind of approach the origin, as it were, but you can never get there. And I'd love to know somebody from his perspective, how he sees it. And I think that would be fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I think last conversation we sort of touched on love a little bit. This one, I want to dive a little bit deeper into love. Now, because you've traveled a lot and you draw inspiration from all over the world, what have you noticed that love is in different cultures?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. Yeah, I mean that's I think it's hard. I mean, it's a really hard one to answer. It's just, I'm just an observer all the time, and um, it is different in different cultures, but it's also like very much the same. You could be in a little village in Colombia and see the love of a family, and it's very, very similar to being in America or France or anywhere. I think the kind of love for people and loved ones is very, very similar throughout cultures, and I think it's something so makes us all so human and connects us that it's kind of no surprise that there's such similarities between cultures.
Mm. Have you noticed that one culture in your experience translates love more than another culture?
I mean, you can walk around in Paris and feel the kind of love
The
dripping
city of
from
love,
it.
right?
Yeah, it truly is. And I've always said that Paris is a wonderfully inspiring place because you just write what you see. You don't have to use your imagination at all. It's kind of all unfolding around you, which is wonderful. But yeah, I think some cultures maybe do, I mean, one thing I know about North America is often like our emphasis gets pushed onto work, and it's work life. And I think that what's lost is the kind of family connection so often, the love of family and being around loved ones more. I think sometimes I feel like we have lost the point a bit. And I'm just like, I'm right there, working too much. And, but yeah, that is one thing I've noticed.
Has your understanding of what love is changed for you over the course of your life? So when you were younger versus now? And if so, how and why?
Absolutely. I had kind of like a darker childhood. I was a sad kid growing up. I had problems with depression and for a long time, and something I struggled with. And it took me a long time to kind of grow up and learn to love myself and find love for myself. And I'm with an amazing partner right now, and she's helped me so much and just like teaching me that I deserve to be loved. And I think it's something a lot of people struggle with, and it's certainly changed my definition as I've grown.
So the age you are currently, what is your understanding of love? What is your version of love?
Yeah, I mean, love is so often what we give it. I think there was a monk who said that love is giving a piece of yourself to someone else and seeing that love in them return to you. And I've always loved that kind of concept of like true love. True love is kind of giving pieces of yourself to someone else and them, vice versa, giving pieces of themselves. And it's kind of like a trade. But love has evolved for me to be something like trust, like vulnerability. I grew up thinking vulnerability was weakness. Yeah. And what I've found as I've learned more about love is that to me, it's just like such a strength, and you can't really, really connect with somebody without vulnerability. And creating that trust, that's an immense level of love. And as I've grown older, I think I've gotten really good at having friends for the right reasons and growing real community and friendships based on love. That as a kid, I think we sometimes have friendships for the wrong reasons, and we're not friends with the right people who return our friendship and return our love. So, yeah, it's all part of growing up,
Yeah. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love
Yeah.
doesn't boast itself or anything like that. It's humble. And it's
Yeah.
interesting how we talk about love in that respect. And
Yeah.
love is something that I believe is somewhat timeless as well. Like it goes beyond us even.
Absolutely.
Love will always
Absolutely.
continue. And then
Yeah.
what do you think the ultimate version of love is for you?
Um, um, I mean, I don't know if there is an ultimate version. I think, like I'm always trying to define love. I think that I can only approach, what is love. It's not a place to be reached. It's a place to approach. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think, it's a lot of work, and it's like, it's really building on that trust and building on that, you know, through vulnerability and through all this stuff. And it's just showing up in the world. And I think I would definitely say, and it took me so long to learn, is that it comes from within first. You have to love yourself, and you have to forgive yourself for your past, and really, really learn to love yourself. And once you've done that, you can be this, more whole person to then love somebody else. And I think it was a mistake. I don't know about your relationships, but like certainly for me, growing up in my first relationships, they were kind of broken, and we try to fill each other. We weren't whole people coming into relationships. We were kind of broken, and looking to each other to solve that. And that's not, that's not how it should be. You gotta come into a relationship as whole as you can possibly be. And that's when you can provide love for somebody else.
I think you're right in many respects. I think we do live in a broken world. We have broken experiences as we go through life. It kind of does make us feel like we are broken, that we can't actually give our whole self to another person, especially, and even to ourselves. Like you've got to get to that place where you yourself, and I don't believe that anyone is actually fully broken. I think that we just have those experiences that are wrapped around our identity that feel like we are broken, but we're actually not. And we've got to heal that broken experience that we've actually been through, to cover it all up and say, I'm fully healed of this, so that I can move forward knowing that I can give my full self to another person. I think you've got to find that inner self-love that people talk about, so that you're able to love even deeper for another person. And I think that also comes with, like you said, the vulnerability factor, like the service factor, all these elements that come into that make up who we are as people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you hit that right on the head. That's it.
For someone that is struggling to know, I guess, with self-love, or know that they are loved in particular, what would you say to them?
I would say just never give up on yourself, and start with yourself. I mean, so many people who struggle, they don't prioritize themselves. They kind of throw themselves into other people, and I think that's a really dangerous thing. You see it in certainly all ages of relationships, of people, they're trying to solve someone or mend someone, and their love is just thrown into their kids or their, significant other. And I think it's a mistake, and you've just got to remember to give yourself love first. And whether that's through forgiveness or just being kind to yourself, I think it starts there. And I think you said it wonderfully.
How do you know when you're with someone new? Should you put like a time limit on finding that you love them, or should we just for as long as possible? Like, because you have people that fall in love really, really quickly. They say, I love you to that person really, really quickly. And then they're like, hang on a minute, how can you love me? Yeah, you don't really know me that well.
Yeah.
The old adage, love is blind, right? Do you believe any of that?
Yeah. I mean, love, I do truly believe is imperfect. And, that's why I named the book LVOE, because love is imperfect, but, I think it's two imperfect things coming together to make something beautiful. And, so often we have to see past the misspelling, the imperfection, and see the beauty. And, so, I mean, I don't think there's a time limit. And I don't think, I really don't think that love by any stretch is like a black and white thing. It's in a spectrum, and we can have love for friends, and we can be in a relationship and love them in moments. And, I think you need to find your own definition of love. But, some people do, meet and they fall in love and they stay in love for the rest of their lives. I mean, I have a friend who's they've been together since they were 16, and they're they're celebrating their 50th, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see, because they're just still just as in love as they were when they were 16. But then, sometimes, I think people rush in and they call it love, and maybe it's not, and maybe it's a dependency or something like that. And I think ultimately you kind of need to trust yourself and have the courage. One of the most powerful things, I keep coming back to this, but it's like, if you're in a place where you really, really love yourself, you're going to be able to be in a way stronger position to get out of a bad relationship, to, end it earlier, to realize that there isn't a future, or maybe it's a little toxic or something like that. I think it becomes really hard when you don't have that self-love, and because you stay in relationships for way longer than you should. And I've done it, and, I think a lot of us have done it, stayed in relationships too long because maybe we didn't have enough love for ourselves. But it's a really, really powerful thing. Respecting and finding that, building that love for yourself. And it's not easy, and it's something you just have to work with. It's like any relationship, you just got to put in the time, but it can be very, very powerful for your life.
What happens if you fall out of love?
Yeah, I mean, and it happens. I think, knowing when to fight and knowing when to let things go is a really powerful ability. And I'm not great at it. I don't think, I think it's something that people really struggle with, because, what you don't want is to not fight for it, because, love needs fighting for. No great love wasn't first bitterly fought for. There's a poem in my new book that's something like that. I'm probably butchering it, but the idea being that's like, love isn't perfect, and it's you have to fight for it every day. You have to fight for it. I think it's clear in your gut at some point when something's not worth fighting for. And that, sometimes you have to let old love leave.
Let old love leave so that you can make room for new love, which hopefully will eventually come into your life. Do you believe that there is a spiritual element at all when it comes to love?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I'm a poet, so I'm romantic.
You're all about it, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, I believe that there can be lots of love stories for different people, though, and I'm never scared to tell somebody that there's more love out there. I think a lot of people think that really truly believe that their relationship is the only relationship that they could ever have, and a huge fear of leaving it. But I truly believe that there are all sorts of, and we've all seen it. There are all sorts of love stories, and they're different, and they're amazing in their own way. And so I'm never scared to suggest if a relationship has run its course, I'll be the first to say, go out there and refine yourself and refine a new love.
I want to get to your new book in just a moment, but I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite love story?
That's a good question. That is a great question. What is my favorite? I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Zhivago, but there's just a beautiful love story within that. And I've always loved that. I mean, to be completely trite, Romeo and Juliet is such a beautiful story, even though it's just teenagers falling in love for a few weeks. Yeah, I mean, what's yours? I'd be interested. Do you have one?
Oh, you're flipping the switch on me. The Princess Bride. That is ultimate love story, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
As you wish.
Yeah, as you wish.
As you wish. As cheesy as it is, man, I kid you not, it gets me all the time. I remember saying it to my first girlfriend, and she hated it. I love it. She hated it. Honestly, she's like, don't ever say that to me again. And I'm like, but it's so romantic.
I love that. When he's rolling down the hill and he's like, as you wish. And that's when she realizes who he is.
Oh, my sweet what pirate. Have I done? Yeah. I know that movie off by heart, man. Honestly, Farm Boy, fetch me that picture. Like,
I need to rewatch it. It's so good when he's I could go through it too.
Go for it, man. Honestly, we can talk about it.
I mean, I just love that scene when he's switching the poison and he switches it back and forth. He's like, but of course, I would do that. And so therefore it's it just keeps going back. And then he obviously poisons himself. But spoiler alert.
All this time it was his cup that was poisoned. He's like, no, they were both poisoned. I spent how many years building up an immunity to the powder that he put in. Just like, excellent. The fact that you can actually build up an immunity to poison. Crazy. That someone has beaten the giant. Who won?
Such a good one.
How did it end? The loser ran off alone. The winner ran off towards Hilda. Just so many. The best line, and apart from the "as you wish" line, is, "My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
To die.
Gets me every single time.
It's a classic. It's a classic. I think it can never be remade.
No, man. Good. Just leave it as it is. I watch it twice a year, and I'm in a new relationship now myself too.
Oh, congrats.
Thanks, man. It's going really, really well. And the other thing is it's long distance too. So it's interesting dynamic doing long distance. We're in separate states. So trying to keep with a level of communication, which I think is a form of love in of itself. And there's also the sacrifice and all these other elements too. But it's very interesting how I'm learning more about her as it goes on. And while I haven't said I love you yet, I think it's building to one day that I know that I will say it. And when I say it, I know I'm going to mean it. And that for me is the most important part, is knowing deep down that I'm with someone who I truly, truly care about. And I know one of these days I am going to say, I love you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very powerful. Does she listen to the podcast?
She does.
Now she knows it's getting close.
now she knows. And maybe it's the same for her. I don't know, but it's just the words "I love you."
Yeah.
For me, you don't want to say it and not mean it. If you know what I mean, like
absolutely.
You want to actually, because it's so powerful. As
Mm-hmm.
as we've been talking about, you want to officially know wholeheartedly that you are in love with this person, because you don't want to lead them on. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think I'm rambling, but that's just a thought that came to my brain. Anyway.
Not at all. Well, congratulations. I mean, I think it's, finding someone and feeling, that strongly is, it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to now steer it towards your new book, LVOE. You spelt it wrong, which you've also talked about the imperfections that do surround love.
Yeah.
How did you come to this understanding? Like, what was the story behind you coming up with the title and all the other poems in the book?
Yeah. Well, it started, last year I designed an engagement ring, and it had two oval stones placed on a single gold band, and together it made this beautiful imperfect heart. And I called the ring Coeur Parfait, which in French means perfect heart. And the idea being that, like I said, love is two imperfect things. My interpretation of love is two imperfect things coming together to make something beautiful. And that's the reason I named it love, because even though love is imperfect, we must always seek to find that beautiful, that perfect. And so, I just really, really like the idea of, well, one, I love the idea of people walking by and seeing this on a bookshelf or like on Amazon and saying, oh, seeing it first and seeing it, thinking it says love, or seeing it and saying, oh my God, there's a misprint. They spelled it wrong. And then kind of diving deeper and really understanding, the meaning behind it. I wanted art. I wanted this to be so different than my other books, which uses a lot of photography. And this time I really wanted to use sketching and illustrations. And so I'm a huge fan of the tattoo artist Daniel Winterstone on Instagram. He does these beautiful, beautiful thin line tattoos, and he's actually done a ton of mine. On different people, like Lucy Hale, I think has one, and lots of other celebrities and other people that have gotten Atticus tattoos, and he kept tagging me on it. And I just loved his work, and so he did all the illustrations in my book. And believe it or not, each piece is an actual tattoo on somebody. But we've obviously just included the sketch. But yeah, he's such a talent, and so it was fun to kind of combine with him. But I think this book is a departure from the other three. I think it's, I was going through some tough times when I first started writing poetry and I first started putting books out. And I think what you'll find is it's a transition into the light, into a more positive mindset, and more, I really tried to stay in the light and make it about coming out of the darkness, rather than being in the darkness. And I really hope people pick that up from this.
So you were going through some trying times as you were writing this book?
I was going through trying times when I from my first book and kind of, into the second and third. And I think this book is more about the positivity and being in a better place of life, and being in happiness, and just kind of working, like a lot of the things we've talked about is finding that self-love. It's a real look inward. Yeah. And, I hope people can draw a lot from that happiness and that joy and the positivity, and, trying to fill up with strength rather than look too dark.
I think when people see it in stores and they sort of backtrack and they think, oh, is that a typo? Then they realize it's you. Then they're like, oh, it's philosophical. So it must have a lot of more meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You hope so. Or they'll just think it's a misprint, but either way.
But no, man, congratulations on the new book.
Thank you so much.
Questions for you, if you don't mind, man. Firstly, where can people pre-order a copy? And yeah, is it coming out wherever books are sold? Is there anywhere particular?
Yeah, no, it's everywhere books are sold. I think you can honestly just search LVOE Atticus or go to atticuspoetry.com. I always say, order it from your independent bookstores because I like to support the mom and pops, but it's also on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Books A Million and all the spots. So actually Barnes and Noble is having a 25% off right now.
Cool.
On that, they're doing a big promotion for my book, and I'm so grateful. They've been so supportive. It's actually at Target too. So yeah, if you're at Target, Target. So Target's been incredibly supportive as well. I mean,
wow,
it's been wonderful to do it, and it's been wonderful to work with them. Everyone's been so great. Actually, this is kind of a surprise, but I'm launching a coffee company called Poet Coffee, and I'll send you some coffee.
Please, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
My girlfriend loves coffee.
Oh well, maybe I'm biased, but this is the best coffee that I've ever had, and it has very little to do with me, but the master roaster that came up with our blend came over from Blue Bottle, and he's just so talented. And it's like, it took him a long time, like 6 months, to come up with this perfect roast, and it's blowing people away. So I'm so excited to release it to everyone. And I think what goes better than coffee and poetry? Maybe wine and poetry, but I've already done the wine. So I'm very excited about it. It's like it's zero emission, all women farmed and sourced. And believe it or not, I just heard it's Elon's drinking it and he loves it. So he whatever, if he likes it, then it made me very happy. But yeah, he's been drinking and loves it.
Mate, you've been very, very busy, and then now you got to start writing your new book. Which it's in the works too. So you got a coffee company, you got this new book coming out, and then now another one you got to write as well. What else you got going on for you?
I mean, things have been real busy, but the wine business has been great. We launched the rosé, and that's in Target too, and it's been hugely successful, and it's so nice to I think we talked about it before. It's like you never think somebody's going to show up, and I put my heart and soul into this stuff. I really was like, this is the wine that I would want to drink. This is the rosé that I would want to drink. This is the coffee that I would want to drink. And so when people actually show up, I'm just so kind of humbled, but I also feel like, yes, we have the same taste. You always worry that you have the kind of different taste than everyone else. So it's been so wonderful. I'll make sure I'll send you some coffee though.
Please, man.
Make sure you get some, and I'd love to know what your lady thinks.
Yeah, I personally don't drink coffee, but I'm more than happy to support my friends. And then I'm sure my girlfriend, who is huge lover of coffee, like you can't wake up and then 20 minutes not have her coffee. Otherwise, hell breaks loose.
I'm the same way.
My kindred spirits. But I tell you what else you got to do. What else goes great with poetry is cheese. So you got your wine, cheese.
Wow.
Make a cheese company for me, please.
Wow. Do you like cheese?
I love my cheese, man. I'm a huge cheese connoisseur. So like, seriously, like I apologize. I don't drink coffee and I don't drink wine at all, but I'll eat cheese. Give me all the cheese.
I love it, Jay. Okay, I'm making some Atticus cheese.
Atticus
That would be
inspired
so
cheese.
funny.
There
We
we
should do it
go.
together.
We
We should do it
business
together.
partners, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be excellent. I would taste the
I
cheese
mean,
and make sure it's right. And then you can just
yeah.
poetry that goes along with it. So
I
done.
love that. I love it. You can be the master cheese taster.
See,
Like a sommelier of cheese.
Great things happen on the story box. But I was also thinking as well how good it would be to see your book, LVOE, and my book side by side in Target, because they're both going to be launched in Target too. So that's
amazing.
That's a photo and a half.
Yeah.
Because people need to know that you endorsed my book. So
yeah,
even better, when they pick up your book, they get my book as well, like side by side. Like that would be cool.
I love that.
That'd
Let's make sure that happens. Let's grab a picture of that and I'll share it and spread the love.
Well,
I'm very proud. We were talking about when I came on last time. You were very hypothetically talking about making a book, and you've done it, and it's just very impressive, man. It's good for you.
It wouldn't have happened without your support, believe it or not. Like having your endorsement really, really helps. And like that for me, I can never repay you, man. Honestly, like to have someone like you as a friend to support. Lost for words.
Yeah. I mean, you're such a sweetheart to say it. I mean, it all came from you. It didn't come from me. But congratulations. And, by the way, so many people have supported me, when I was putting out my books, that it's so easy and, we're good friends. And, I mean, I'm just very proud of you. So excited to get a copy and you know what, you've helped so many people, just the people you've had on your podcasts and promoting their books. I think you deserve it so much. So
thanks, brother.
From the heart, of course.
2 quick final questions for you, if you don't mind. I know it's getting late where you are currently.
No worries.
I may have asked you this question during our last conversation, but I want to ask you it again, see if it's changed at all. But what do you love the most about yourself and your story?
Yeah. Wow. That is a great question. I love that I haven't given up. I think that that it hasn't always been easy, and that, from the beginning, I've just been committed to getting better and trying to be a better person in the world. And I think I'm finally showing up how I want to be. And it's taken a long, long time. And I just, I think it's been a bit of a theme throughout this chat, but just not giving up on yourself and finding love for yourself. And so it's been a lot of persistence, but I haven't given up.
And I don't think you ever will, man, honestly. And we need your words of wisdom and coming out. My last question for you is, can you share one of your poems, one of the ones that stands out for you the most, one of the ones that took the most out of you to actually write, if you can find?
Oh, good question. Yes.
You on the spot again.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, the reason I write them down is is because I can't remember them. But
there's too many
my
of them.
intro, my intro to the book is I say I wrote this book on stolen time at parties, at work, on trains and planes, and I stole it all for you. Love, Atticus. And it was that was. I really wanted to set the tone for the book and really make this, dedicated to the people, the fans who have supported me. But yeah, I'll read this. I'll read a short one.
Please.
Yeah, it's on page 5 of my new book. She came to me in a light and smoky dawn, with a crown of white flowers, standing there in a proud protest of the night and the audacious rising of the sun. She swirled in sandalwood and incense from far-off lands, whispering to me in the secrets of the wind. And as quickly as she came, she was gone, back into the coming of the day, daring me to remember her forever and the way she made me feel.
Perfect send-off message. Go and get a copy of Atticus's new book, LVOE. It's available anywhere books are sold. Coming out November 1st, I believe. But Atticus, man, always love talking to you, brother. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your advice, and your stories, and for joining me again on the Storybox podcast.
Oh, thanks, Jay. It's great to be back.